you start understanding that this person was a catalyst in your life, he or she, that person is the catalyst for all your success. That's just waiting for you. It's waiting for you. It's waiting for you if you're willing to take that step. Hey my beautiful souls, welcome back to Fanny with Jessie, the life coach. So guys, today we are going to be speaking about narcissistic relationships and everything you need to know about why you attracted it, including its connection to karmic relationships. There is a reason why narcissistic relationships actually come up in our lives, and there's a connection to karmic relationships and how long we stay in them. So today we're going to be breaking it all down. So first things first is, if you haven't checked out the video on karmic relationships that I just did, check it out so you can understand what a karmic relationship is, because it's important to note in this conversation. Now, when we talk about narcissistic relationships, we are talking about a person who is incapable of growing. So that's one thing to really understand. When you are attracting a person of that sort, there also is a reason why. So let me break it down first, because there are healthy people who can actually attract narcissists in their lives. There's many reasons why narcissists could be attracted to a person. They could be attracted to someone's light, right? They could be attracted to someone who's very healing. They could be attracted to someone who's very grounded, a person who's very flashy. Like if a person has their shit together, right? Like if you are a woman and you got your shit together, a narcissist could be attracted to you because they're opportunists. They want to use you for certain things, right? And it's like the better you look and the warmer you are and the more nurturing you are, oh yeah, you're going to attract them, right? And that person could be completely, totally healthy, and you might attract them in. And sometimes those people get fooled as well, and they might not need healing. They just don't realize in the very beginning, because narcissistic people are very good at putting on a show and pretending to be something they are not. But the difference between a healed and an unhealed person is that a healthy person who attracts a narcissist and gets fooled for a little while, they will only be fooled for a little while. They will start catching on to the mistreatments, and they're not gonna stand for it. So it will be very, very short-lived, right? Most intelligent people can be fooled by a narcissist, but people who literally refuse to settle for less will catch on and be like, I'm not dealing with that. You could take all that maladaptive behavior and go that way. You kick them to the curve. But if you're not doing that, that's because you need to learn a lesson. And it's usually a lesson involved in self-worth. Self-worth, self-love, and boundaries. All narcissistic relationships that go on for a good amount of time, those are the 3 core lessons that one needs to learn that's on the receiving end of receiving that narcissistic behavior. Because in order for you to allow a narcissist to remain in your life, that means that your needs and wants are not being met, and you're not even able to express your needs and wants without receiving invalidation and someone belittling you. So that all falls into self-worth issues and self-love. Because when you love yourself properly, you would never allow someone to mistreat you, misspeak to you, right? Invalidate you in such ways and make you feel like you don't matter, or the words that are coming out of your mouth don't matter, or your feelings don't matter. You would never allow someone to make you an option and not a priority. You would never allow someone to just, gaslight you and make you feel or make you question your own reality of what you know to be true, because you saw what you saw, you heard what you heard, and you're not letting someone else, you're not giving more precedence to someone else's belief about what happened take over your own, right? You're not allowing someone to silence you, right? Because you're strong in your autonomy, because you believe in yourself and you know that what you saw and what you believe and what's going on is not right. So you won't allow that relationship to go any further. You won't allow it to continue the way it's continuing. And even when someone promises you, makes promises of, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get help, I'm just going to be different, right? Once that promise is not followed through, then you're able to say, you know what? You didn't do as you were supposed to. I might love you, I might care for you, but you're not doing what I need you to do to make this last and make this feel balanced. And, my needs and wants are not being met. So you know what? I'm going to let this go because you said you were going to do something and you're not doing it, which means you're not of a person of integrity, right? A person who needs healing, they will stay in a narcissistic relationship. And the reason for that is because there's a karmic lesson that needs to be learned there. So one part that people always skate over and don't realize, specifically the people that have been involved in narcissistic relationships, is that it is there for a reason. It is there to teach you something about yourself. It is there to evolve you. It is there to heal you. And a lot of people lose sight of this because, one, they don't even know that that's the reason of the relationship. And then two, they're so focused on the narcissist. They're so focused on why they do what they do, why they behave the way they behave, how can someone hurt them so deeply, and so on and so forth. They're very, very focused on the narcissist and their behavior. And what you need to do when you're stuck in these type of dynamics is turn the focus around, and the focus should be on you. And you need to question, why are you allowing this behavior to continue? Why did you even allow this behavior to take a force within your life? What is it about you that has allowed this to continue? So a lot of times in narcissistic relationships, the person who's been on the receiving end of the abusive dynamics, they are quick to point the fingers, right? Quick to say this person did this person did that. And it's very true. This person definitely abused you, right? In some way, form, or fashion. And they created all this havoc within your life. Absolutely. There's no denying that. There's no invalidating that. There's no invalidating the experience because it's filled with all of that. But a big part that people miss on this journey of narcissistic abuse is that we need to look at self. We need to look at us. We need to look at our unhealed wounds of what attracted us to this person to begin with, right? And that's the part that people need to really focus on. Self. Not understanding them, because people get so stuck in this loop of why did a narcissist do that and trying to understand their psyche. No. Your purpose is to understand your own psyche. Your purpose is to understand your own journey. Your purpose is to understand your own healing and what is unhealed about you. So you do not repeat the cycle, right? You get out of that karmic loop. You do not attract another narcissist, which is going to be another karmic relationship, right? Because with a narcissist, it could start very mild, right? Their abuse starts very mild. It's very covert, right? It's very like undercover. And it comes out in little different ways. So in the beginning, you might not even know that it's there. You might not even acknowledge it as like abusive dynamics. But then as time goes on, they like up the scale, and they become super abusive. You as a person has to look at that. And a lot of times, people are not understanding that. They don't understand the reason a narcissistic relationship has come into their lives. And that's the reason why. The point of a narcissistic relationship is to develop you and grow you in a spiritual sense, in your personal development. It's for you to actually look at what is happening to me. Why is the way someone's treating me? Why are they treating me that way? And to be honest, the why doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter why they are treating you the way they are treating you. The only thing that matters is that the treatment is there, right? And you have to look at that and reflect on it and say, I deserve more. And when you're not able to do that and you're incapable of doing that, that means there's a lesson. There's a lesson there for you to learn. And a lot of people speak about narcissistic abuse and they talk about the healing process and not to blame the victims. And a lot of people mistake taking accountability and reflecting in our lives and not falling into victim mentality for blame. They're two very different things. Accountability and blame are two very different things. When you take accountability for your narcissistic relationship, you start empowering yourself because you start looking at, well, the only way this relationship was ever going to be sustained, and it got as far as it did, and this person came into my life and was able to create this destruction and chaos in my life, is because I allowed it. That's taking accountability. Blame sounds like this. I allowed this person to come into my life. They wreaked havoc. I only have myself to blame, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm a horrible person, and this is all my fault, and this is the way life is always going to be. That's blame. And that's falling into victim mentality. But empowering yourself to actually make better choices is by accepting that you were a participant in how this was created. You didn't ask for the abuse. You didn't want the abuse. But when the abuse started occurring, you didn't speak up for yourself, right? You didn't say enough is enough. The truth is, by the time we get to the stage that people get very, very abusive, physically abusive, there was already verbal, emotional, and psychological abuse already happening. And one of the reasons why it goes so far is because people don't know the difference between what an abusive relationship looks like compared to a healthy relationship. The reason why it got to the point that it got to, and what you need to work on, is your own healing. You need to work on what past traumas have you had in your life. What have you been connected to? What have you learned in your childhood about love? What have you learned in your childhood about what it means to be loved? What have you learned in your childhood about your caregiving, or what you saw in your childhood about your caregiving that made you, sustain such a relationship and think that this was love? And then you need to look at that, reflect on it, and heal on that. So one of the areas of my coaching practice that has gained a lot of momentum in the upcoming months has been working with women directly one-on-one on narcissistic abuse, right? Healing from it. And one of the aspects that we really focus on is why and how do we call this in. It's super important to take accountability for what has happened and follow that line into what made me think that this was love. Because a lot of times it's connected to our belief systems and how we were raised. Or it's connected to having narcissistic individuals within our life and our upbringing. And so we associate a lot of the things that a narcissist does to us as love. It feels like love because that's the only love we ever known. Majority of the time, I said this before, abuse can feel like love to people who've never been loved properly. So in my coaching practice, we dive into that because it's super important. It's super important to understand your power in this whole dynamic and understand the reason why the narcissistic relationship has come into your life. And one of the biggest and main reasons is for you to heal. They have come in as a catalyst to bring up your own darkness into the light so you can address it, so you can heal it, so you can go towards a partnership that's healthy. And that's the connection between narcissism and karmic relationships. Because if you looked at that video that I mentioned before, karmic relationships are all about lessons and evolving us. It's about evolving us spiritually so we can get to our life partnerships, the people that we are meant to be with, the people that we are equally yoked with. And it's the same thing goes for narcissistic relationships. They are the epitome of karmic relationships. They're not meant to stay there. They are meant, and they come in to teach us a lesson about love, a lesson about ourselves, a lesson of how we relate to others and the relationships we keep all around us. Because the truth is, after you leave a narcissistic relationship and you learn the lesson, oh my Lord, it empowers you like you've never been empowered before. Like if you never had a voice, when you come out of that, oh my Lord, you're going to have a voice and you're going to want to be speaking on platforms like me, right? You're going to defend yourself and you're not going to tolerate. You're not even going to entertain anything that even resembles a person who is narcissistic. And I don't mean only in romantic relationships, but I mean in any type of foundation, any type of relationships. You, after that relationship, you might disconnect from friendships and you might disconnect from jobs, and you might disconnect from family members that even show you narcissistic tendencies, because it becomes such an intolerance within you that you're like, no more. I'm never ever going to settle for less ever again. So it empowers you if you learn the lesson correctly. But a lot of times what happens is that people don't even realize that there's a lesson involved in there, right? And that's one of the things I love about coaching women for narcissistic abuse, is showing them the lesson. They don't understand why they had to go through so much pain, so much chaos, and they don't understand, like, why did this person harm me, and like I was so good to them. And I'm like, you know what, at the end you're going to be thanking them. You're going to be thanking this person, because if you learn the lesson, which I help them see what the lesson is, we bring it to the surface, and I show them all their own wounding and everything they need to focus on, because they're too focused on the narcissist. They're too focused on the narcissist. And I'm like, this whole dynamic between a narcissist and an individual that brings them in is all about a spiritual growth. Breaking down old foundations and old belief systems that you believed about yourself, that you believed about love, that you believe about your whole existence. And you'll see things from a whole different perspective and a whole different way of viewing the world around you, you know. And then you start wanting more, and you deserve more. And this is the thing, most people who go through narcissistic abuse deserve more. They know that they deserve more, and that's why they go through all of that pain. And it's like a conflict between their emotions and their logic, right? Because they know their logical side is saying I deserve more, but the emotions are stuck in those old belief systems saying I deserve this, or this is what love feels like. And it becomes a whole transition of transmuting all of that energy to where you need to be, not where you've been stuck at. So narcissistic relationships are the most empowering relationships you can ever come in contact with. And if you learn the lesson and you stay focused on what is this here to teach me, and what am I here to learn, and why did I attract this, and why did I let this in, and taking accountability for it, not blame, accountability, you will evolve. You will evolve like no other. It's to make you greater, stronger, wiser, you know, just smarter all around. And if you are able to embrace the lesson and accept it into your life and really look at yourself, it's a game changer for you. It's a game changer for you. You don't just go through the pain for nothing. No. The point of the pain is to help you. If you're doing the work and you're doing it properly, and you're keeping the lesson and the goal at the forefront, at the focal point, then you'll start understanding that this person was a catalyst in your life. He or she, that person is the catalyst for all your success. That's just waiting for you. It's waiting for you. It's waiting for you if you're willing to take that step. Because in order to have a healthy dynamic and a healthy relationship that goes the test of time, you have to get involved with someone that wants to grow and that is capable of growing with you. Because the truth is, as we go through relationships and as we go through years, we are going to change. And we want to get a partner, we want to meet up with a partner, we want to bring in a partner that's also going to want to change with us. As we evolve, we want a partnership that's capable of evolving with us, right? The way we thought when we were 20 is not going to be the same way we thought when we were 30, and so on and so forth. And narcissists are incapable of that. They stay stuck in the comfort zones. They don't want to grow. They don't want to evolve. They're incapable of doing it. They don't know how to communicate. They don't want to change, because the things that they're doing works for them. They don't want you to change. And when you start changing, then you're going to be, you know, the center of their attacks, because you're not doing for them what you did for them once at one point, because you're growing and evolving and you're changing as a person. So of course there's going to be conflict. The part that a lot of people don't realize, because they're not thinking of the narcissistic journey as a spiritual journey, but it very much is. It very much is. It's a journey of self-love, self-growth, evolvement, and it's a journey of getting what we want Majority of the time, we can't get what we want because we are not healed. We are living in trauma. And so this whole journey is about spiritual growth, the traumas that live within. It's about karmic relationships, karmic cycles, and just releasing all of that. Finally, releasing all of that. And sometimes we can't release it on our own, so we need a catalyst. And that's what the narcissist becomes. It becomes the catalyst for our growth. But you first got to be able to see it that way to allow it to be what it needs to be. And that's why I tell people we have to learn how to accept. We have to learn how to accept that certain things that come into our lives, they're just meant to be temporary. People come into our lives to teach us and help us grow, nothing more. Learn how to accept that, learn to be okay with that, and learn how to let go to get what you want. If you're struggling through the journey, you can always look me up and I can help you and coach you through the healing journey to get back to self. That's all I have for you today, my beautiful souls. I will see you in my next one. Love and light.